In this video, we want to take our original drawings and convert it into the actual dimensions from our original drawings into the scale model dimensions. And as we shared before in class, that this the actual formula for that is take the actual meters that we dimensioned it from, and you multiply that times 5, and you come up with the centimeter measurement. Okay, so example, 1 meter times 5 equal 5 centimeters, 2 meters times 5 is equal to 10 centimeters, etc. And so we got to convert all these measurements first, and from there we're going to make the parts list and the dimensions on that. And from here then we can convert that into our actual model as we build it, and from our plan, etc., as we talked about in a previous video. So here's an example here. There's 8 meters from here to here. I'm going to multiply that times 5, and we come up with 40 centimeters or 400 millimeters. And so we see from this point to this point is the actual length of our back wall, and then the height of that wall is 2.5 meters. You multiply that times 5, and that comes out to be 12.5 centimeters or 125 millimeters. So height, these actual height dimensions will already be given, but you can also write that down, and the thickness of that is going to be 9 millimeter. All right, so we'll just take this back wall, for instance, and as you can convert all the rest of these on your own, we're going to realize that in this material that we'll be using, it's actually 9 millimeters, 9 mil, and from that thickness, we always got to consider the calculations whenever we're doing anything like a box or any kind of project. You always got to think about the actual dimensions, the thickness of the material, as we see here. So in this case, we're going to go from this point here, so that's going to be one long wall right there, and it's going to go right to the end to end. And therefore, our next measurement is going to have to start from here, even though the side wall, it says I have here 6 meters, we calculated that into 30 centimeters, it's going to be less than 30. And then you got to consider the front wall. You can go either way. You could actually go from this wall to here, or you can go this way to this way. It's up to you. I kind of like to always see, if I see a face, I like to show, I don't like to see the end join on there. I like to see from this point to this point. So I'm going to already think about my front wall right here, right in this length here. In this case, I'm converting my dimensions from my drawing. So that would be 2.5 plus 1.5 is 4 meters, and I'm going to multiply that times 5, and so I'm going to come up with 20 centimeters or 200 millimeters. Okay, now my dimensions are shortened from 30 centimeters from corner to corner. I got to minus this thickness here and this thickness here. So if I look at that, that's 9 plus 9 is actually millimeters. That's 0.9 is 1.8. I have to subtract that, 30 for the full length, minus 1.8, and then my actual wall dimension is 28.2 centimeters. That's from the inside of that wall to this side of the wall. All right, and then you can convert that to millimeters, 282 millimeters. So that's what the length of this right side wall would be. And so you got to calculate each one of these measurements from this point in here, and then I would go right to this corner here. So you have to calculate what that dimension is from this point to this point. And then I would go, or I could go in another way, you could go like this. So that would be inside to inside. And then this would be your veranda wall. All right, so you have to consider where you're going to actually join that together. Now in my case, I like to think about this inside wall from inside point here and point there, and we'll cut out the doors like we do the windows, except the doors is basically easier to cut out, and we'll cut it out like this, and then we'll keep the top part intact. We'll just cut out this rectangular shape for those doors. And so this would be one long piece from here to here. So you have to calculate the same thing. So this wall and this wall would be actually the same dimension as far as length. And so therefore, you can take each one of these dimensions, you convert them to centimeters or millimeters, so that this prepare and make from those, we'll convert them and make that parts list, and then we'll take it into our regular model, and then we'll start laying out our floor from this.